engagement resources in one place. You can catch up on pre-recorded webinars, access a wealth of educational resources, and make community connections to promote your family's well-being. To access Peak Parent University, simply visit our website at cpschools.com and search Peak Parent University. We're also proud to offer a family welcome and support center at Oscar Smith Middle School. This welcoming space is designed to provide support and assistance specifically for our English language learner families, helping them with enrollment questions and ensuring a smooth transition into Chesapeake Public Schools. Chesapeake Public
I'm finished talking about John.
Mr. Mercer, would you please read the statement to bring us back into open session?
Yes, Chair Swigert, I move that the record shows that the only items discussed in the closed meeting were those specifically cited in the motion to convene into the closed meeting and those lawfully exempted from statutory meeting requirements.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Dr. Cotton, do you have items resulting from closed session?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a few administrative appointments that are submitted for board approval. Mr. Alexander J. Pope, Planner, School Administration Building, to Interim Administrator, Planning, School Administration Building. Mr. Christopher S. Gilgren, Assistant Principal, Oscar Smith Middle, to Assistant Principal, Hugo Owens Middle School.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mercer. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McCormick. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Dr. Cotton, do you have any additional announcements?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The following individuals were selected to fill Assistant Principal 1 positions for the 24-25 school year. These appointments at this time do not require board action. Mrs. Sonia H. Stevens, Title I Instructional Coach, Oscar Smith Middle, to Assistant Principal 1, Grassfield High School. Ms. Courtney B. Stukes, School Counselor, Hugo Owens Middle, to Assistant Principal 1, Oscar Smith Middle School. Thank you, Madam Chair. This completes my announcements.
Thank you, Dr. Cotton. We will now move on to the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I'd like to call upon Reverend Dr. Tommy Smith from Divine Baptist Church, who will give the opening invocation. Afterward, I'll ask Dr. Brittany Walker to lead us in the pledge. Please stand as you are able.
Whole year. And of course, we pray for your divine protection as always. We pray for the members of this assembly as they continue to lead, to inspire, engage, and empower through the core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all things. May your hand of blessing abide with this administrative body throughout the school year, and certainly we will continue to glorify, honor, and magnify your name, for you are worthy of all our praise. And just in case I have asked for too little, go ahead and bless exceeding abundantly above all we can ask or imagine, according to the power at work within us. Bless as only you can. In that marvelous name we pray. Amen.
Thank you for joining us this evening, Dr. Smith. Have a good night. We are now moving on to awards and recognitions and the memorial resolution. Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Chair Swigert. At the request of the superintendent, I have prepared a resolution honoring the life and service of one of our esteemed employees, Miss Mary Kendall Smith, who served as a first grade teacher at Rena B. Wright Primary School before her passing. We have several special guests in the audience tonight. Before I read the resolution, I would like to invite Dr. Jessica Dace to the podium to provide remarks.
Good evening. Mrs. Smith was a valuable member of the Rena B. Wright primary community and is remembered for shaping the lives of countless children with her warmth, compassion, and dedication. She had an extraordinary ability to see the unique potential in every child, nurturing their growth with patience and love. Her classroom was a place of joy, discovery, and learning, where every student felt valued and inspired to be their best. Mrs. Smith had a teacher's heart, which embraced an attitude of lifelong learning and improvement. She has left behind a lasting impact that will resonate with her students and her colleagues for many years to come.
Thank you, Dr. Dace. At this time, I would like to invite the members of Ms. Smith's family who have joined us tonight to join Principal Dace at the podium for the reading of the resolution. Thank you for being here tonight. And now I'll read the resolution. Be it known to all persons that we, the members of the Chesapeake School Board, here assembled on this 12th day of August 2024, do hereby pay tribute to the life and memory of Miss Mary Kendall Smith. Whereas Miss Smith went to Virginia Wesleyan College, where she received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Early Childhood Education in 2013, and whereas Miss Smith began her educational career as a third-grade teacher at Crestwood Intermediate School. She then taught kindergarten, first grade, and second grade in Norfolk Public Schools. Her fondness for Chesapeake Public Schools led her to return in August 2022 when she took on the role of a first-grade teacher at Rena B. Wright Primary School. And whereas she was always willing to assist those who needed help, as evidenced by her devotion to her students' success and her love of learning, her great desire to educate and make a difference in students' lives. And whereas she was highly esteemed by her colleagues, students, and friends, and was recognized by them as an invaluable asset to the school system and to the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the School Board of the City of Chesapeake, do gratefully acknowledge her service to the school system and extend to her family our heartfelt sympathy at her passing. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be made a part of the minutes of this date and the original presented to her family as evidence of our esteem and reverence for the memory of Miss Mary Kendall Smith. This resolution is attested by each member of the school board and our superintendent, and at this time I respectfully request adoption of the resolution. Motion carries with all board members present voting yes. Dr. Dace, at this time, would you please escort the family around to meet the members of the board?
On behalf of the school board, I'd like to extend our deepest sympathies to you and your family, and we thank you for being here tonight. The next item on our agenda is the hearing of citizens. During their allotted time, speakers should observe our rules of decorum and know that expression of concerns and criticisms on matters of school policy is welcome and operations. While the speaker's own comments are welcome, they may not play pre-recorded messages. Dr. Smith, are there any citizens who have requested time to speak this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have one citizen requesting time to speak.
I want to thank the speaker who has signed up to address the board this evening. There are two ways that citizens can request time to address the board. They can call the clerk's office before 12 noon the day of the meeting, or sign up to speak prior to the start of the meeting. All in-person requests to speak must be submitted to the deputy clerk 5 minutes prior to the published meeting start time. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. Once your allotted time is over, we ask that you promptly exit the podium, and you may choose to sit in the boardroom if seats are available, but standing or sitting on the floor will not be permitted, and you may not block the exit doors. We would also like to ask that you refrain from any behavior that disrupts the meeting, including the use of profanity, applause, cheering, or jeering. Dr. Smith, please call the first speaker.
Yes, speaker number 1, we'd like to invite you to the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
Vic Nichols, Chesapeake. I would like to ask that the board consider remote participation for the regular parents and public. One of the items that I have heard from a number of people is that whereas Virginia Beach keeps allowing them to speak remotely, this allows everybody a chance. For parents especially that have young kids, they might have to get some kids in bed or some kids still be up, but they can't get out here and talk to you. And obviously their kids are very important, so I'd like to see that policy re-looked at. The next, I still haven't seen, it's been what, more than a year? Do we have ideological diversity on our school boards? That's all I want to know. Thank you.
This concludes our speakers for this evening.
Thank you for sharing your comments. Our practice is to receive information, however, we do not usually engage in dialogue, and that is our intent tonight. If appropriate and not already provided, someone from the superintendent's staff will evaluate your concern and provide a response. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Is there any board member who would like to pull an item out for additional discussion? Dr. Walker?
Yes, Ms. Swigert, can we please pull out from Section E policies 817 and 320?
We can. Is there any additional requests? Mr. McCormick?
Yes, can we pull out item G from the consent agenda, just for some additional information and discussion from Ms. Stutz?
Yes. So first, before we discuss those two items, we will ask for approval for items A, B, C, D, F, and H, and we will address the two items that we would like some additional discussion on. I'll entertain a motion for approval on, again, items A, B, C, D, F, and H on the consent agenda. Moved by Ms. Scott. Ms. Scott, is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Poole. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Now we will return to item E, specifically
817 and 320.
Actually, my apologies. Before we do that, I meant to include I want to make this officially correct. Now let's entertain a motion for approval for all of the policy items listed under item E, with the exception of policy 817 and 320. Moved by Mr. Mercer. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Ms. Scott. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Okay, apologies for that bobble. Now we have officially cleared all of the ones that there are no items for discussion on. Now returning to item E, policy 817 and policy 320. Open for discussion. I'll open the floor to you, Dr. Walker.
Sure, just wanted to make a quick note on these. Personally, for discussion, I know that this policy change is important because we've recently changed our salary scales and we've put people on the unified scale, and so it's important that this language be consistent. However, I do know that there are still a couple groups of people who are technically administrators who are not falling onto this scale at the moment. So I'm just requesting us to look at this moving forward and have future discussions. I do think that it's important to adopt it now, though, as is. So I'm happy to make a motion unless someone else has further discussion on it, but I would like to see that we look at that in the future.
Let's procedurally have you make the motion, and then there will be a spot if there is any additional discussion.
Okay, perfect. So I move to adopt policies 817 and 320 as written, understanding that we will revisit later for future discussion.
Motion made by Dr. Walker, seconded by Mr. Mercer. Is there any final discussion on this matter? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith?
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Thank you. And now we will look to item G on the consent agenda, and I will open the floor to Mr. McCormick for discussion.
Yes, thank you, Chair Swigert. The reason I pulled this one off really is because of the amount of money involved. I just want to be transparent with the public because it's under an emergency procurement. It's $500,000. And just for transparency, would ask Ms. Stutz to kind of explain the situation a little bit more and how we're handling the allocation of these funds.
Sure, Mr. McCormick. In July, we actually have summer school at Greenbrier Intermediate. We had an issue with the air conditioning unit. As you know, it was a very hot time of the year, excessive. Our unit were failing. Y'all may remember, even the public may remember a few years ago, we had HVAC work done at Greenbrier Intermediate. Those were the makeup air units. Those are the big units that sit on top. These are the console units. These are heat exchangers that are in every classroom. Those are the ones that failed. Those units are the original units to the building, and the building opened in 1991. Those coils have failed. There's sediment. You get that in your pipes as well at your house. Any type of piping that's old in nature. So it ended up getting clogged. We tried to come in and filter it out the best we could with the contractor. We were semi-successful in some rooms, but many we were not, and we were not able to hold the temperature that we needed to in the classrooms. That being the case, being mid-July and school starting right after Labor Day, we didn't have much time to come up with a permanent solution. We came up with an interim solution. We'll have mini splits at all of those rooms where we have issues so we can maintain the appropriate air conditioning and the appropriate temperature for the kids, because we all know September and October can be very hot, as well as the end of the year. And what we will do is the permanent fix will be next summer, and that gives us the appropriate time to order the HVAC equipment that's needed. There's just not enough leeway and enough lead time to order equipment now and have it installed for this summer. And we did it as an emergency from the standpoint that we didn't come to you guys. Emergency from a procurement, it was non-emergency procurement because we did use a cooperative, but our rule with y'all is to bring anything that's over $100,000 to you for approval. It happened to fall in between the one meeting we had in July and then this meeting, and honestly, if we waited until tonight to get your approval, we would not have air conditioning at Greenbrier Intermediate when school started at the beginning of September.
And I appreciate that explanation. And so as far as these mini splits and about $350,000 worth of equipment, what can be done with that after the permanent fix is made next summer?
Thanks, Mr. McCormick. We actually are going to be able to, I can't guarantee we'll be able to use every single one the first year, but we will be able to reuse that equipment and install it. We have actually several mini splits throughout our district now in areas where we can't have the temperature correct, or quite honestly, like the old SAB where we had chopped up so many rooms, the airflow was not there. We also will be able to use them in some of the IDF rooms or MDF rooms. Dr. Faust will be happy about that. Those rooms, once the equipment comes on, they tend to run hot, and we have a hard time keeping those cool. So those units will actually help bring the temperature down for that equipment.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve item G that was on the consent agenda. Don't need to further explain it than that.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. McCormick and seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith?
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Thank you all for that. I know that was confusing, but it's helpful to err on the side of providing more transparency and information than less, so I appreciate you helping me work through that. We are now moving on to the information agenda, and the first item is the preliminary SOL accreditation status results. Over to you, Ms. Edwards.
Good afternoon. It gives me pleasure to be able to present our Director of Assessment and Accountability, Dr. Melissa Oliver, who will present to you tonight our preliminary accreditation results. Dr. Oliver.
Good evening, Chairman Zeigert and Vice Chairman Mercer, all of our board members, Dr. Cotton, staff, everyone. I'm here this evening to share with you what we expect to be our 2024-2025 accreditation ratings based on our student performance in 2023-24. They're preliminary results. The state hasn't officially stamped them yet, but we expect them to look like what I'm going to share with you this evening. Our current state accreditation system uses 6 indicators to assess school performance and determine accreditation ratings. Each indicator has established benchmarks for level 1, 2, and 3 performance. The Academic Achievement English indicator includes reading tests for all students in grades 3 through 8 and for students in grade 11, as well as writing tests for students in 11th grade. The benchmark for level 1 performance in English is 75% of students passing the test. The state also calculates English pass rates for students who are Asian, Black, Hispanic, white, of multiple races, economically disadvantaged, and English learners, as well as students with disabilities. And each of these subgroups must also attain a 75% pass rate to earn level 1 accreditation performance. And the subgroup performances across those subgroups are combined to determine the school's achievement gap English performance. The third indicator is academic achievement in math. Students in grades 3 through 8 take a math assessment every year, and then students in high school take one math assessment during their tenure in high school. The level 1 performance benchmark for math is 70% of students passing the test. And the achievement gap indicator for math is calculated the same way the English gap indicator is, with the change of a 70% benchmark, using the same subgroups that I mentioned in English. The Academic Achievement Science Indicator is based on science tests administered to students in grades 5, 8, and high school. The level 1 benchmark for science is 70, like it is in math, but there's some additional challenges in science. Science tests cover material learned across multiple grade levels. So students taking the 5th grade science test are assessed on content from 4th grade science and 5th grade science. Students taking the 8th grade science test have questions about 6th, 7th, and 8th grade content on their 8th grade science test. In addition, science calculations don't account for student growth the way that English and math do. And fewer grade levels take the test, so the denominator for the calculations is significantly lower than other subjects as well. Across all of these academic performance indicators, 65% of student passing is the benchmark for level 2 performance. Chronic absenteeism indicator is the only universal accreditation indicator that's not tied to SOL test results. The chronic absenteeism indicator gives the percentage of students who were absent for 10% or more of the days that they were enrolled in the school. For the school to attain a level 1 achievement benchmark, they have to have no more than 15% of their students chronically absent. In other words, at the school level, at least 85% of their students have to be present for at least 90% of the days they're enrolled to reach the level 1 benchmark. High schools have 3 additional accreditation indicators under the current system. The Graduation and Completion Index, or GCI, is a weighted graduation measure that assigns 100 points for students who earn a diploma by the end of their 4th year of high school, partial credit for students who earn a GED or remain in school to finish the following year, and no points for students who exit high school without earning a degree or a GED. The level 1 performance benchmark for GCI is 88 or higher. The level 1 benchmark for dropout rate is 6% or fewer of the graduating cohort dropping out. We're way below that. The College Career and Civic Readiness Index, or CCCRI, first became an accreditation indicator last year with the class of 2023. To meet the level 1 performance criteria for CCCRI, at least 85% of the students in the cohort 2024 have to have experienced one of these milestones during their high school tenure: passing an advanced placement, international baccalaureate, or dual enrollment course, completing a career and technical education course sequence, or 3 years of junior ROTC and passing a credentialing exam, participating in a work-based learning experience such as an internship or a school-based enterprise, or completing a service learning experience. As you can see, these are rigorous and relatively new requirements. The Departments of Curriculum Instruction and College and Career Readiness have worked tirelessly for several years to ensure that all of our students have the opportunity and the encouragement to participate in these experiences. We've added courses and work-based learning opportunities and even adjusted our curriculum in core areas to integrate service learning experiences for our high school students. Across all 9 of these indicators, if a school fails to meet the benchmark in a single indicator, they lose the right to be fully accredited. So it's a single sanction type system under the current accreditation system. You may recall there are 3 potential designations: accredited, accredited with conditions, and accreditation denied. I'm pleased to share that 96% of our schools have attained the highest accreditation designation possible, accredited. Truett Intermediate and Reneby Wright Primary were accredited with conditions due to science performance, but have made strides in all of their subjects. I'd like to take a moment to share how our schools performed on each accreditation indicator. The first indicator, Academic Achievement English, 100% of our schools met the top performance benchmark, every single school in the city of Chesapeake. Only 2 schools had to use a 3-year average to do that. 96% used only current year data, and that's celebration worthy. 28% of our schools improved English accreditation pass rates from last year, including every middle school and 6 of our high schools. The largest improvement, a single year increase of 13 percentage points, occurred at Oscar Smith Middle School, who raised their overall achievement designation from level 3, the lowest state designation, to level 1, the highest state designation in a single year. They had 116 students pass their reading SOL test this year who failed their reading SOL test last year. So students who hadn't yet mastered the reading skills from the prior year not only caught up on those prior year SOL reading skills, but they also mastered content from their current grade level. That is remarkable progress. State level pass rates for English haven't been released yet, but I expect Chesapeake's English pass rates to far surpass the state as they have in the past. There we go. 78% of our schools earn the highest performance rating for Achievement Gap English indicator. No schools were identified as below standard or level 3. This year, we met the state achievement gap standards among every racial and ethnic subgroup in every school. We also met standards for our economically disadvantaged students and English learners in every school. Our identified area of need for English this year continues to be improving literacy outcomes for our students with disabilities. We've made significant progress in recent years, but continue to focus on implementing innovative and effective instructional strategies that meet the individual needs of our students with disabilities. Shifting to math performance. For the second year in a row, 100% of our schools met the top performance benchmark for math, and none of our schools had to use a 3-year average to attain the level 1 benchmark. That's extremely impressive. We're confident that when statewide math pass rates are released, we'll far surpass the state pass rate. Not only did every school in Chesapeake surpass the Exceed Standard or level 1 benchmark for the state, on average, our schools exceeded the highest benchmark by 19 percentage points. Not only are our overall math pass rates high, but our achievement gaps among subgroups are exceptionally low. 87% of our schools surpassed the top benchmark for math achievement gaps. Subgroup performance in math was exceptional across all of our schools. While our students with disabilities perform better on math standards compared to English, they remain our area of focus for math instructional improvement as well. While 76% of our schools were in the top performance category for science, including every Chesapeake high school, and all 3 schools in level 2 reduced their failure rate by at least 10% since last year, there are 8 schools in level 3. It's also important to remember the differences I mentioned earlier in the way science tests are administered and the pass rates are calculated. Science tests are only administered in 5th grade, 8th grade, and high school, but they cover content from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and high school content, regardless of whether students were in Chesapeake Public Schools during that time or not. So students are tested on material that was presented as much as 3 years prior. Additionally, the formula for calculating the pass rate in science is different. Student growth and multiple factors related to English language learners are not taken into account in science calculations. Regardless of the difference in content combination or pass rates calculations, it's our responsibility and our commitment to improve these results. The majority of schools not meeting the level 1 benchmark in science were elementary schools. So we've identified elementary science as an area of focus. This year, we've hired an elementary science coordinator to assist the supervisor of elementary science in enhancing instruction and improving results. We're also ensuring our instructional coaches have strong science backgrounds, and we'll be enhancing our use of Mastery Connect to provide district-wide through-year monitoring in elementary science as well. This will ensure that students are engaging in well-aligned, common assessments and allow teachers, principals, and content supervisors to review aggregate and individual student performance on particular standards within the science curriculum throughout the year. The Division of Teaching and Learning will be providing you more detailed information on our efforts to address science in a future meeting. And while our science performance is not where we intend for it to be, it's an area of need across the region and the state. So I'm confident that we will continue to surpass the statewide pass rate in science as well. Chesapeake consistently compares favorably to state pass rates in every subject area, but I'd like to take a moment to show you how we compare to ourselves. It's taken a lot of extra effort on the part of our teachers and administrative teams to ensure student success since the pandemic. As you can see, we've pulled up pass rates in every subject. Math pass rates have dramatically increased in recent years, 23 percentage points, and have continued their steady uphill trend this year. Current year increases were more pronounced in reading, math, and science. This is also important to note. The red line represents the benchmark for Level 1 accreditation performance, 75 in English and 70 in math and science. In 2020-2021, we fell below the top performance benchmark in all subject areas. Not only have we made great gains since then, but we've brought our student outcomes back above the top performance benchmarks. We are exceptionally proud of all that our teachers, students, administrators, and support staff have accomplished in 2023-24, and we look forward to continuing our growth and achievement. While the majority of the accreditation indicators are focused on SOL assessment scores, there are a few tied to other achievements. Chronic absenteeism has been an area of our focus since COVID. Our schools have gone above and beyond in identifying and implementing strategies to improve student attendance. Last spring, division-wide, we implemented flexible instruction time and constantly tracked and communicated real-time data to improve chronic absenteeism. As you can see, our efforts to emphasize the importance of regular school attendance have paid off. Chronic absenteeism rates have shrunk throughout the division, and the decline in chronic absenteeism has already pushed many of our schools that were unable to attain the top accreditation designation last year over the Exceed Standards benchmark this year. As with all of the academic accreditation indicators, we expect our chronic absenteeism rates to outperform the statewide rate when state-level data are released. I mentioned earlier that high schools have 3 additional accreditation indicators. The first of the indicators is the Graduation and Completion Index, or GCI. As you can see, every single high school in Chesapeake met the highest benchmark for GCI. As a matter of fact, all of our schools surpassed 90 on the GCI before our summer school graduates are even included in the calculations. It's good news. The second high school indicator is dropout rate. The dropout rate at every Chesapeake high school is significantly better than the highest achievement benchmark. And the final high school indicator is the College Career and Civic Readiness Index, or CCCRI, which is that measure of the experiences the class of 2024 have had while they were in high school that prepare them for post-secondary achievements, like advanced placement, dual enrollment, international baccalaureate, career and technical education, industry credentials, and work-based learning. Once again, every Chesapeake high school far surpassed the highest benchmark. In summary, Chesapeake Public Schools has produced exemplary results across the 9 accreditation indicators. Every single Chesapeake Public School earned the highest designation, Exceed Standards, for academic achievement in English, math, graduation and completion index, dropout rate, and CCCRI. It's very impressive. And at least 3/4 of our schools met the highest designation of exceed standards in every other accreditation indicator as well. These indicators identify our areas of focus for the coming year: students with disabilities in English and math, science achievement, particularly in the elementary schools, and student attendance. This is another way of summarizing the information from the prior slide. The green indicates schools that have reached the top performance benchmark, and there is a lot of green here. We look forward to ensuring every student in each of our schools continues to grow and achieve. I would be amiss if I didn't take another moment to highlight the accomplishments of one of our schools. While all of our schools have been working hard and producing fantastic results for our students, Oscar Smith Middle has done a remarkable job of improving student achievement this year. Oscar Smith was in a unique situation. After the 4th consecutive year of below standard performance on an indicator, schools enter a special category for the following accreditation year, where they're no longer allowed to take advantage of opportunities to move from accreditation denied to accredited that other schools have available to them. All other schools can use level 2 performance to become accredited, but Oscar Smith could not this year for English. They were tasked with raising their English performance from level 3 to level 1 in a single year, a feat that someone in Richmond indicated was statistically impossible. Well, they didn't factor in our Tigers, because not only did they meet the exceed standards, our top performance rating in English this year, but they improved their English performance across subgroups by a net 124 percentage points. While doing that, they also improved their math performance by nearly 10 percentage points and 139 net percentage points across subgroups, and they were already in the highest performance category in math already. And they pulled their science up from level 3 to level 2 while they were at it, reducing the failure rate by 10%. As a person who lives in this data, I can assure you these gains are nothing short of remarkable. Our Tigers really shine this year and should be commended for their hard work, dedication, perseverance, and performance. Principal Dee Williams and her data-driven, student-focused leadership team and the amazing staff and students at Oscar Smith Middle have really made us proud. Thank you for your time and attention. It's been a pleasure to share our school's accomplishments with you this evening. As a reminder, all the data I share with you are preliminary, but I don't expect any significant changes, and I'll take questions if you have any.
I don't have a question at this point, but I do want to echo, honestly, I was ready to say it, and then you just captured everything I was so excited to say here at the end, that we have remarkable teachers across our district, but Oscar Smith Middle and Principal Williams certainly deserve some extra kudos, and the students here at this school for really putting in the work to do exactly what was needed to show their true potential and to get where they needed to go. And it's exciting, and we're very, very proud of all of them and everybody that has made all of the strides that have been made this year. There's learning happening everywhere, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can show us next year. We know that we'll see the right trends and that everything's going in the right direction, and that your team and Dr. Miller's team and all the teams that are needed to put these in place will do the proactive work to get there, and we're confident in that.
Absolutely. Super proud of our little people and our big people.
Dr. Walker?
Yeah, that covers everything. Amazing. That takes a really strategic effort, and from not only the school itself, but from all of the teams represented up here as well. So kudos and great job to everybody. I did have a couple questions though. I think you said this, and I just wanted to clarify. Even just like with the science results being what they are, you anticipate or already we're still above the state average. Is that correct?
We don't have the state pass rates yet, but I regularly meet with the other division directors of testing in Region 2, and looking historically, I feel that everyone is struggling in that area and that we will surpass the state pass rate, but I don't have the numbers yet.
Okay, we're just confident that, okay. And I guess everyone's struggling for the reasons that you mentioned. Is there any other reasons kind of that are floating out there as to why? Because has that been an area of struggle for us historically science?
It was an area, but not to the extent that it is now. I
Yeah.
think when divisions came back from COVID, they were so intently focused on meeting the learning loss needs in English and math
Right.
that we kind of
Yeah.
let science slide a little, not
Right.
just Chesapeake, I mean statewide.
Sure, yeah.
And you're seeing that statewide, so that's part of my guess. Part of it's because there's so many skill sets that are being assessed there. The items are also technology enhanced, so sometimes one question might have 6 things you have to get right to get that one question answered correctly. And that's an adjustment for the students as they get used to those. They have to understand a lot of things about graphing and results for science experiments and things like that.
Right.
Sometimes some of our people who've been teaching a very long time, not just Chesapeake but everywhere, are used to teaching vocabulary and science kind of as a book lesson as opposed to experimental lesson. And the test is transformed into an experimental type test to understand results. And so we're working on that
Yeah.
every day.
Awesome. And then just the last thing that stood out to me was the chronic absenteeism rate. That's something that is driven by so many external factors that we don't always have control over. So the focus that we've put on that and being so successful, I thought that was awesome. So I just wanted to kind of call that out too, because that's a tricky one
Thank you.
sometimes.
It is. Thank you. Anything else?
Just a few more. I do want to very quickly add the danger of doing this off the cuff is you forget somebody, and I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't also thank Ms. Diane Edwards for her leadership and support of these staff, both at the administration level and, of course, at all the school levels. So thank you for that as well. Mr. Mercer.
Yeah, you know, we talk about Oscar Smith Middle, and that's remarkable, but they're at Rena B. Wright and Truett, and they're linked to each other. It's remarkable some of the gains they've received this time, too. I think they had the science problem, but I looked a little bit at the preliminaries, and they've made some great strides, and I think they need to be encouraged.
Yes, and particularly Rena B. Wright in their chronic absenteeism rate, like you were saying, those are primary school kids. They don't have a lot of control over driving themselves to school if they miss the bus. They made, I can't remember the exact number of percentage points they increased. I believe it was 12, but I could be wrong, in chronic absenteeism.
And you have a great deal of transientness there as well, so they have done some remarkable things, and that state official needs to give an apology.
Yes. I just said someone in Richmond, but yes. Yeah, we're very proud of all of our schools and all of our staff. They're working super hard. Thank you.
Thank you. The next on the information agenda tonight is proposed revisions to school board policies and regulations. Over to you, Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Chair Swigert. We have 2 recommended policy revisions to bring forward tonight. I am happy to introduce our Director of Planning, Policy, and Research, Mrs. Fallon Graham, who has been working diligently on these policy revisions with the Superintendent's Cabinet. Mrs. Graham.
Good evening, Chair Swigert, Vice Chair Mercer, and members of the board. The items that you see listed here are being presented with proposed revisions. Today, the proposed revisions are based on a comprehensive review to better align with the Code of Virginia. This ensures that our practices align with these policies and that our policies are responsive to the evolving needs of our district. Revisions to Policy 913 include a definition of excessive absences, which is when a student misses more than 10% of the school year or semester, except in specified circumstances, and that in order to receive course credit or promotion, students may not have excessive absences. However, the principal shall consider extenuating circumstances before making the final decision. Revisions to Policy 927 include the addition of attendance when determining if a student has made satisfactory progress regarding decisions related to promotion and retention. I'd like to bring to your attention that revisions were made to Regulation 927, and as you are aware, regulations do not require action from the board, but they are provided in board docs for your reference. These policies will be brought forward on the consent agenda during our next meeting. What questions do you have?
I don't see any questions at this time, Ms. Graham. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are now moving on to the action agenda, and the item is the VSBA Convention. Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Chair Swigert. I would like to share an opportunity with the board. The 2024 VSBA Annual Convention will be held November 20th through 22nd in Williamsburg, Virginia. If there is any board member who wishes to attend this conference, would you please raise your hand? I see Lamonia, I see Swigert, I see Mercer, I see Poole, and I see Walker. And I will need a motion for approval.
I'll entertain the motion for approval. Moved by Mr. Poole, seconded by Dr. Walker. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members present voting yes.
Thank you. We will now move on to the superintendent's report. Over to you, Dr. Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a few announcements this evening. Our new educator orientation, we're excited to welcome over 325 educators new to Chesapeake Public Schools on August 20th at Indian River High School. I hope several of you were able to join me that morning to extend a warm welcome and hear from our famed educator, Michael Bonner. It should be an exciting morning for everybody. Also want to remind our families, online student verification. We are asking parents to log into ParentView before September 30th to verify your child's information for the new school year. Through this process, parents and guardians can update their contact information and emergency pickup list, among other things. Most importantly, the information will be provided to the school staff in the coming days. A lot of parents don't realize this is something that has to happen every year, because we want to make sure that we have the information up to date each and every year when students start school. Summer school graduation, of course, I saw plenty of smiling faces at the summer school graduation ceremony that was held last week at Deep Creek High School. Congratulations to all of our summer grads. And finally, we do have a school board planning meeting scheduled for next week. As a reminder, our upcoming planning meeting is scheduled for August 22nd of next week. And the meeting will be held here in the new administration building and will begin at 4:30 p.m. We did talk to the board chair and vice chair today about a tentative agenda that we'll send out to the rest of the board. Certainly would like to, if you have feedback on items you want to discuss, please share those with the chair, and we'll be glad to prepare for that for next week. Madam Chair, this completes my announcements.
Thank you, Dr. Cotton. Last on our agenda this evening is board member items. I'll open with a brief one of my own. I'd like to make just a short comment on our new administration building that we are having our first meeting in tonight. Nearly 5 years ago, the City Council commissioned a joint facility use study, which resulted in several key infrastructure recommendations. One of those very strong recommendations was that we consolidate the 6 buildings located around the city that housed administrative personnel, aiming for tremendous streamline efficiencies and numerous opportunities to better serve our community. And approximately 3 years ago, we found the opportunity to turn this building into that unified space. And thanks to the efforts of Heartland Construction, our operations department, and our technology department, we were able to achieve this amazing space, coming in under the budget that was recommended by the joint facility study. And that, my friends, is an amazing feat to accomplish in today's skyrocketing costs for construction and labor. So I certainly want to give kudos to Paige Stutz, Jeff Faust, their respective departments, and of course to Heartland Construction for being able to do what they've done here in this space and giving us much more opportunity to do amazing things for our communities and the schools that we serve. So thank you for that. Mr. Malamoni, I believe you have a board member item?
I do, and this space is amazing and great job. I just wanted to echo what you just said as well, Angie. I wanted to give kudos as well to Jeff Faust for his leadership in the development of our cell phone policy. For those who don't know, the governor was in town just this past week for an event with the mayor, and he made it a point to reference his executive order that he put out recently regarding cell phone policy use throughout the entire Commonwealth, and it echoed and really mimicked the Chesapeake policy that we were first to the line with, and he was very thankful for what we've done in this city and the way we look after our kids in our schools. And so I just wanted to say thank you to you for your leadership. Thank you to our amazing board members here for the support with these types of policies and these types of changes. You know, we don't just strive, right, to make policy, but we strive to make great policy. And, I love that we do that, on this board. So just thank you to all. And again, I wanted to give some kudos to you, Dr. Faust, to you and your team for your leadership and helping us craft that. Good stuff. Thank you.
Are there any additional board member items? At this time, I would like to wish on behalf of the board a very happy birthday to Dr. Angie Smith, who has celebrated just a few days ago. We hope you had a wonderful birthday. And with that, I will call this meeting adjourned.